Hello, it is Wednesday. Here's a Farstrider, and here's two more. So they're nearly done. I'm going to be finishing them off today, as well as painting some Imperial Guard stuff in between, while I'm waiting for things to dry, for example. But I pretty much just have metallics to go, and the shoulder pads. For the people that popped in on my live streams last week, yes, I stripped and repainted both of the test models over the weekend, which is why it's taken a little bit longer than I wanted it to, but it didn't take me long to get back to where I was. Doing stuff on live stream takes a little bit longer because I'm getting distracted by chat and going, hello. But there was one main reason why I stripped and repainted them, and that was the inside of the cloak. I found some art of, it was in one of the battle tomes, one of the Stormcast battle tomes. It was art of the Celestial Knights, who have the exact same colour scheme as the Tempest Lords, which is who I am painting here. And I noticed two things. Number one, there is no gold on the model whatsoever. Not anywhere. They never use gold. So I had a bunch of gold in the weapons and some other places that I decided I didn't want to use. Also, with the way the cloak was set up, with this fur back here, having gold on top of these browns made these twin-tailed comets really hard to see, so I'm shifting that over to silver. Now, the gold paint I'd applied was Glorious Gold, and I had applied it a bit too thickly, so it's kind of, painting over that would have resulted in bumps. I didn't want that. I wanted a smooth coat. The second thing was the inside of the cloaks in the art, because I found art of a Celestial Knights Vanguard from GW. So the canon cloak lining for Celestial Knights Vanguard is red, not white. And this suited me fine, because on the last live stream I tried to paint these little details here, and I painted them in red, and it turned out that when I'd been base coating the inside of the cloak with my Celestial Grey and then wet blending with Ultron Grey, I had completely gummed up the details. So this little indentation line here that's black, that was completely gummed up and basically painted over, and you couldn't see it was there, and it upset me. But it also meant that the white hadn't gone on very smooth, and it hadn't. I'm normally pretty good at painting white cloth, but that angles to try and get inside this cloak here, it was really difficult, and I was getting impatient when I was doing it, and I was applying it too thickly and not taking my time and not letting everything dry properly, so it kind of, again, it went chalky and I didn't like it. So I stripped them back, repainted them, and now I'm at this point where I applied this Ultron Grey here a little bit too thickly, but it's not, you probably can't tell that great on the camera. If you looked at it close up in real life, you'd be able to tell. But that's because GW whites are quite lumpy. Yes, just the nature of the beast with GW paints. So you've got to thin them down quite a lot and apply a lot of thin coats, and I was getting really impatient. But also it's much easier to touch up with red over any white that you get on the red than it is to touch up with white over red. So going with red on the insides of the cloaks makes more sense. It also means that when I paint this stud here in silver to match the silver twin-tailed comet there, it will actually show up much nicer, whereas before I was going to paint a gold stud on the top of a white inner cloak, white lining, and then have a gold stud here to match it, and that wouldn't have stood out very well on this side, but would have stood out fine on this side. But this way, having a silver stud here and here, it stands out well on both sides, thus solving my problem there. And that was it. It was mainly just the cloak. Oh, and I'd also kind of messed up the shoulder pads a bit, because I'd repainted them like 4 times trying to figure out exactly how I wanted to do it. And once I figured out how I wanted to do it, I was like, well, I'll just strip it back down and repaint it over a nice smooth surface. So yeah, not much left to do. I should get them done today. well, I should definitely get the test models done today. And the on-camera guy, I've got all the way up to painting this bit of the cloak in, because I do this bit, the back of the cloak's on airbrush at the start of the video. Then I shift over to painting all of the blue armor's edge highlighting. And then I paint this in, and next thing I need to record is painting the wash onto this. And then while that's drying, I will be, I think, painting, yeah, I'm base coating the red. So yeah, there's no red anywhere near this, so I can base coat red while that wash dries. Still not sure how to paint the burb. I'm going to look up some reference for that later. The burb may get its own video in a separate one. And I'm not sure how to paint this little orby thing here. It appears to be... well, I don't know. I think there's a card in the Shadespire upgrade set that is supposed to represent this thing. So I'll have a trawl for that and see if I can find it. And see if there's any indication as to what it's supposed to look like. I don't really want to do an OSL effect on it, because painting the reflections, painting the glow from that on the inside of the cloak and on the backs of the knees here and onto the underside of his arm will be a nightmare. So I don't think I'm going to go with an OSL effect. This knee's going to be gold. Like, this guy has the only gold that is going to appear is going to be on this guy, and it's going to be on the knee and the shoulder pad. And that's because I believe that the golden line of Sigmar should always be gold, because that's just me. And it will set him off really nicely from the rest of the squad, who only have silver trim on their shoulder pads, and this shoulder pad will be silver. But yeah, that's to come. So yeah, that's what I'm painting today, because I'm taking this week off from work because I need to finish some Imperial Guards so that I can sell that army and get a shelf back in my display case. So that's the other stuff that I'm doing the rest of this week. So once this video is done, I'm basically painting for money the rest of the week. I painted some other stuff as well. I zoom that out a bit. Had a pop at a Deathwatch Rhino. I'm going to repaint this one. Woohoo! I'm going to repaint this one because I'm not a fan of the stripe going all the way down the back of the vehicle. And I don't like how I weathered it, because my Corvus Blackstar that I painted, that you've seen in a previous video, isn't really weathered at all. And I was going to go with the same kind of look as the rest of the Deathwatch Marines, which is it will be scratched, but it will not be chipped. Which is just a look I've decided to go with for the Deathwatch Marines. Because I just decided that they look after their stuff well enough, or they don't actually get into so many fights. They're not in a full-on war zone because they're an elite strike force. So I decided that, sure, their stuff's going to get a bit dinged up, but it's not going to get wrecked. And they've got the facilities to maintain all their stuff, so... Unlike vehicles that might have been sitting transporting troops for months on end from battle zone to battle zone during a big siege, such as I might paint an Imperial Fists army, or something like that. I've not gone with really heavy weathering, but the way that I've weathered this doesn't sit well with my idea for the army, so I'm going to repaint this. I don't need to strip it. It's all airbrush, so it'll just smoothly go on. Airbrush and a bit of sponge and dry brushing, so not a big deal there. So I'm just going to repaint it, and I'm only going to paint the stripe. I'm going to paint the stripe thinner, so it's only going to match this indentation here. And I'm going to paint it only up the front, and it's going to disappear underneath this and reappear at the top here and then stop. And I'm going to do stripes up the sides here, and not one on the back, which I think is where I really decided, oh, that looks awful. So stripes up the side doors, one up the front, and that's it. I'm not going to stencil a big Inquisition eye on the top of these doors because I'm not that bothered about it. And also, most of the time, if I ever use this in games, I'd actually be replacing this with a Razorback turret, probably. Which will have a red canopy on the Razorback turret, where its little armour over the guns is. So yeah, that's a Rhino that I was messing about with. And the other thing that I did some painting on because I wanted a break. Where's my? I can't find my dusting brush. It's somewhere. Oh well, this might be a bit dusty. Is my Ork Dakkajet. Now I actually did this last week, but I forgot to show it because I forgot I did it. But it's on. I posted on my Instagram about it, and yeah, I've had this for a good long while now, year and a half, 2 years, almost. It's been half painted for at least a year. I've just done all of the airbrushing work and painted the Ork inside. Don't know if you can see that decently. He's got a pretty good paint job going on him. And then I just kind of put it aside and never went back to it. So I decided to get a little bit more done. So I panel lined everything with non-oil and did a bit of sponge chipping, which where the red paint is showing through the black paint, I really like that. Some of the sponge chipping for the metal is good. In fact, the sponge chipping where the metal is showing through is good on all of the harsh, sharp edges that are on this, but I'm not a fan of it here on these rounded edges where the checks are. So I need to do something to try and even that out because it just doesn't look right to me. Like, you shouldn't have metallic paint being slightly thinly applied over red or checks in this case, because that's not how paint comes through. And to really get things fading, white things fading, and the paint underneath showing through, what tends to happen is the paint will just chip off or flake off, and then maybe the red will come through, but most of the time actually the paint would just chip off in such a way that it goes straight through to the primer or the metal. So yeah, there's some things on here which I consider to be very unrealistic, and they look kind of cool. It matches color-wise with the rest of my army and tonal-wise. Like, before it was way too bright, and now with the... Oh, it just took putting the panel lining in, actually. Didn't need to do anything else. It toned it down to looking appropriate for the rest of my orcs. And then I started painting in some rust effects on the wing there. Oops. Yeah. That's just scrag brown. Water some scrag brown down to start painting streaks with it. I tried to avoid putting it near areas that didn't seem appropriate. So areas where there is a gap that water could have gotten into and settled and then created rust. Because orcs loot stuff. This is probably looted from something rather than built from scratch. But they tend to patch things on top of it, and so I went with the theory of where they patched stuff on or repaired stuff, there's more likely to be rust. But also where they might have just gotten a lot more wear going on. And not used necessarily a lightweight material to patch it up. Because aluminium doesn't rust in the same way that iron and steel rusts. So, and who knows how all the materials in the 41st millennium actually rust or corrode. We don't know. None of them are called really steel or iron or copper or anything like that. They've always got weird names like duralinium or things like that. Adamantanium. Other made-up names. To be honest, probably nothing in 41st millennium should rust. But yeah, it looks cooler if it does. So you can see a difference here. There's one wing where I've done the rust, and there's one where I haven't. And I'll do it in a similar place, like these patched on plates here that are clearly patching up holes that have occurred in the Ork vehicle. These here, I'm not sure what these are supposed to be. Isn't it true that in a lot of old World War II planes they carried fuel inside the wings? I don't know, so I don't. If you know anything about avionics, what is this bit? Comment below with what these circles might represent, because I'm sure the sculptors go from reference, but I don't know much about scale models or World War II style planes, or even modern planes, to know what these might represent. Like, I can make a best guess. These are definitely air brakes. Here, and probably also, that might just be a vent. This is clearly an air intake, so is this, so is this. There's a lot of air intake going on this thing. Apparently the engine is in here, because there's another engine, and there's exhaust pipes going through there. So yeah, I can make a best guess about a lot of it, but I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is. I don't know what these circles on the wings represent. I don't know what this is here. Or it might be. I'm guessing this is some kind of maintenance hatch. Rather than, say, where you'd fill it up with fuel. However, back here we have this thing, which also looks like it might be a fueling port. So, who knows? And then there's also one here. There's all sorts of odd things on here, and I don't know whether or not I should try and put like fuel or oil leaking out of these areas or not. I kind of like using the imagined perceived function of a thing in order to determine what kind of effect and how I paint it when it comes to vehicles, but I don't know enough about how planes are constructed to even make us a guess about this stuff. So yeah, comment below if you've got any good ideas. I'm going to paint these teeth white because they're clearly supposed to be teeth, and this is a mouth. So yeah, those are going to get painted white. But this is just a every now and again project, because I just get like half an hour every now and again in order to do something on orcs. So anyway, that's what I've been painting. And yeah, that's it for painting. Farstriders mostly this week. I had a dentist appointment on Tuesday, so I was not in the house. I was out all day in town doing stuff. Doing things that we can only do in town, like go to the dentist. So yeah, I didn't get a lot of time to paint this weekend, and that's why I'm doing some painting this week. The Goliath video, that went live. That's doing well. Been well responded to. Not many people commented on it, which I thought was interesting. I think I need to get my calls to action up, or something. YouTube really like that, because not many people commented on it, and it seems that YouTube isn't suggesting it to as many people as a result of not many people commenting on it. And this is not me saying, hey, go and comment on that video with anything at all. I would never say that. Do it. But it's interesting to see what governs the YouTube algorithm as to what it shows people. Also, the conversion rate apparently is still sitting at around 5%, which is normal for one of my videos. So it just depends on how many people it's showing it to. It might just be going, well, no one's really interested in Necromunda, so I'm not going to show it to them. Whereas there was a time when loads of people were interested in Warhammer Underworld Shadespire, and it'd show all my videos for everyone. Also because they're Age of Sigmar related. So, who knows? Oh, also, yeah, Stormcast Eternals just do better than everything else. So yes, that came out, that's live, but in a related note to that, jump cut, we're back. In a related note to the Goliath video, I am running a giveaway. It's for my patrons, and it's because I'm skipping my second video this month, which was going to be Dakkajet Kill Team. I am skipping it because I need to get back on track. The Farstriders put me so far off track when I was trying to paint them that it's had a massive knock-on effect over the last couple of months. And because I know that the Dakkajet Kill Team was voted for by two of my friends in real life, and that's what put it over the top, with 3 votes. So, and everything else, there was no tiebreaker for it, essentially. I am running a giveaway, and one of my patrons, and that's any patron, just $1 plus, one of my patrons will win this Goliath. And I'll be doing a live stream on the 2nd of October for my patrons here on the YouTubes, where I will draw the winner. So all you have to do is be a patron during September. Well, all you have to do is be a patron when it ticks over. So at the end of this month, so if you are in the list of people who were a patron before September, then you will automatically be entered into the prize draw, and you have a chance to win this guy. No one's getting favourite treatment, so it doesn't matter if you pledge $1, if you pledge $50, you all get 1 entry. I don't normally do giveaways, but I have no use for this model in the future, because I'm not going to have a Goliath gang. And I wanted to, give something back to make up for the fact that I'm not doing the second tutorial. But there probably will be 2 parts to the Farstriders tutorial. I'll probably end up having to split this into 2 parts with just the model and then probably the base in a separate video. And who knows, it might end up being 3 parts with the bird getting its own video. So while I'm only painting 1 model for that tutorial, it may end up in 3 videos. So there is that. So yes, if you would like to have a chance to win this Goliath, you can enter on my Patreon, which the link will be on the end of the video and also in the description below. Other things that are coming up. October's coming. Nightvault is going up on pre-order at the end of this week, which I'm going to pre-order it so that I can unbox it on the day it comes out, or as close to the day as it comes out as I actually receive it. But the videos for that probably won't happen for a while. What I'm going to do is, after I've recorded this, so it may already be up by the time this gets uploaded to YouTube, I'm going to go on my Patreon and I'm going to put up the vote for November now. And it'll be running while the vote for October is still running. But the vote for November is going to only include Warhammer Underworld's stuff. So it will be the Fyreslayers, Magor's Fiends, the Nighthaunts from the starter set, and the Evocators from the starter set. So those 4 guys will be up for vote. And so you'll already be able to vote on those if you're a patron in October, but the voting won't close until the end of October, so they'll get a couple of extra weeks of votes. You'll also be able to vote for more than 1. But obviously if you vote for all 4 of them, then that's not really going to help anyone, because that will just, negate all of your voting. So that's the thing. So November's definitely going to be Nightvault content. Well, it's definitely going to be Warhammer Underworld's content. And October's definitely Speed Freaks and Ork related content. I'm going to be pre-ordering Nightvault the weekend it comes out so I can unbox it. I'm also going to be pre-ordering Speed Freaks the day it comes up, so that I can get that and again unbox that the week it comes out. The Ork boy that I'm going to be painting for October, I've already built. He's going to be part of my Ork kill team, who I'm going to try and paint. Might not be in time for the start of October, but I'll finish it before the end of October. And I'll be doing a kind of project diary video that will be like edited down to 20-25 minutes. It won't be a how to paint an Ork kill team, it will just be following me as I make my Ork kill team and paint it. So it'll be like one of these videos, but only dealing with that, and it'll be me recording stuff spread over many different days and showing you my progress along the way. And the other thing will be painting a buggy from the Speed Freaks box set. Probably, well, no, it depends which one wins. Currently, a Blood Axe vehicle is winning, and I think the one with the turret on makes the most sense for the Blood Axes rather than the Dragster. So that will be interesting. And I had an Amazon affiliates voucher come through today for the last 3 months of Amazon affiliates, so I bought myself the Scale 75 Flesh paint set with that, and that should be arriving probably the weekend, and I will be doing a review of that, and I'll try and paint something with some flesh. I think I still have another spare Goliath knocking about to try it out on, so I can kind of see if I can colour match Scale 75 to some GW paints to get close to this, and then I can see how it covers and behaves when doing things like wet blending and glazing. Because I've heard excellent things about Scale 75, but I haven't been able to justify buying a set. But I'm getting more and more annoyed at the really, really desaturated paints from Games Workshops, like, use Shabty Bone and your Orthran Greys, which I use a lot of because these are important colours for a lot of things that we paint. But yeah, they tend to go quite lumpy and quite chalky very easily, whereas Scale 75's pale colours are supposed to be very, very good from everything I've heard. Apparently their highly saturated colours, their bright colours, aren't very good, and Games Workshops are better for that. I probably won't be able to tell with the Flesh paint set, but apparently Mephiston Red is considered to be one of the best reds that you can get. And so is Evil Sun Scarlet, and Games Workshop Reds are apparently some of the best that money can buy, even when considering Scale 75. I don't know how true that is, I'm just regurgitating a rumour and other people's opinions that I've read on the internet. It's just what I've heard. But yeah, I use my Amazon affiliate monies to buy that paint set, and I will see how it performs on... I do have another Goliath around here somewhere, I think. Oh no, wait, maybe I don't. I'll find something. It won't be a Fire Slayer. But I've got plenty of human-type models knocking about that I can paint skin on. That I can have a test with that on. So yeah, that's coming, and I'll be getting an unboxing and review soon. And if I really, really like them, then just expect to see them pop up every time I paint flesh. I will always give you the Games Workshop equivalent, either in the description or in the content of a video whenever I use a different paint. But, because, not everyone can afford to replace all their paints the moment a YouTuber says you should use a different colour. I understand this. But, yeah, if it's good, I'll just end up using them and giving you suggestions for what to colour match to them. Because the only reason I can think of to use different paint sets is if they behave better. Because finish you can control with varnish. So it's all a case of how do they behave while they're actually being painted with, rather than how they look once they're finished. And also price is the other consideration. Scale 75 ones are about the same as I pay for Games Workshop paints. It's what, £2.50 a pot for Games Workshop paints? And I think this Scale 75 set is like... it's either 8 or 12 pots, I can't remember, it might be 10. But was 25 quid with shipping for this paint set, so it works out about the same for Scale 75, so the price factor is not really going to come into it. they are in dropper bottles, so you know that's a nice thing. Because the biggest problem with these is not leaving them open and getting paint everywhere. Hang on, I'll find a good one. Who's my most recent culprit that has caused me pain? Okay, this guy. This thing that happens here with your GW paints. The way that it accumulates around the rim. The number of times I've ended up with Rhinoxide or some other paint on my finger and didn't realise after opening and closing. There, it's just done it. There you go, right on camera. I couldn't have planned that. Number of times I've ended up with this happening, and on the other hand now, from just putting it down, and ended up transferring that to a model without before I realised what had happened. It's definitely in the double digits now, and it's super annoying every single time it happens, because sometimes I don't notice until it's dried. In fact, I did it on this guy's hand here, and I had to use some alcohol and a Q-tip to very, very carefully try and lift the paint off without getting all the way down to the primer. I managed it, but it was touch and go. It could have ended up having to strip the entire model, because when you do that, you usually leave a big fingerprint, which is really noticeable. So that's my actual biggest complaint about Games Workshop's pots. It's not that they dry out. I find that they don't anymore, as long as you clean out the rim a little every now and again. It's that they leak onto the back, and then you get it on your fingers, and then you get that on your models. At least I do, all the time. That's the most annoying thing about it. And I don't ever have that problem with dropper bottles, because your finger never goes anywhere near where the paint is. Anyway, that's enough for this video, I think. So, again, giveaway for this Goliath. If you would like to win him, $1 patronage will get you this. It'll also get you voting rights for the Warhammer Underworlds vote that will be up when this video goes live. So you can determine what it is that I paint first out of Nightbolt. Or if you desperately want to make me paint the Fire Slayers, which I'm sure some of you will vote for because you're mean. That's not true. You're lovely. I'll be doing some more live streams in future. I'll also be probably adding a patrons only live stream at the end of each month, where patrons can just, you know, ask me questions and do like a patrons Q&A. Because I've been live streaming on my phone and it's been going well. It's not great. The audio's not amazing. You have to turn your volume all the way up to be able to hear me, because the built-in microphone on my phone is not brilliant. But I'm going to look at getting a little microphone adapter so that I can use a lapel mic with it. And I'll just, you know, it'll be a sit and paint with Rob for patrons at the end of each month. And I will do the occasional impromptu live stream on YouTube, so keep an eye out for those. I don't announce them because I don't know when they're going to happen. It just depends if I get some time and I'm feeling lonely, mostly. So there you go, that's it. Thank you for watching my videos. Thank you for being patrons if you are a patron. And also clicking on all those links that appear in the descriptions for everything. Thank you for that too. So, are you looking forward to Nightbolt? I'm looking forward to Nightbolt. Are you looking forward to Speed Freaks? Did you manage to get Rogue Trader, and are you enjoying it? Because I ordered an Elucia Vein model from an eBay splitting up of the box person, and they didn't send me it. They cancelled my order, and I was upset. And I don't want to pay £15 just to be able to paint Elucia Vein, when I could probably get the entire set for, what, 60 quid, and then split the Glitchkin stuff off and sell those. So, yeah, Rogue Trader, not for a while. Yes. Anyway, yeah, post below, subscribe there, Patreon there, social media's there, and there's another video you can watch right there. Bye!